Good evening everyone and welcome along to live coverage of round 5 of the Inside Line Racing League season here on Xbox. It's ILR1, it's Friday and it promises to be another thrilling Grand Prix. Alongside me, as always in the commentary box, we've got Diablo, or James of course, whatever you prefer to be called James, it's up to you. But we're all ready for the start of this race and it should be another thrilling weekend, shouldn't it?
Absolutely right. Good evening everyone and welcome along. Spanish Grand Prix never fails to disappoint and never has really in Formula 1. We've had a couple of iffy races recently, I'd say, around. Well, that's a lie. We've had some pretty good races around Spain. Recently we've had some pretty poor races, but not in ILR. If we cast our minds back not to the too distant past, you'll remember that we had a Spanish Grand Prix and it probably was one of the best Grand Prix we had all season. Where Danny and Rosberg were fighting their way all the way to the finish line, and Danny coming from some absolutely ludicrous position to, I think, finish on the podium in that Grand Prix. Can't quite remember, but it was still a really, really great race, and we should expect something similar here today.
Yeah, we should, and unfortunately that was one race that I missed. Trust me to go and miss one of the best races of the season, but pretty much every week at the moment it's a really good race in ILR. As I watch Gosh go way off the road. They are going down at, I think it was turn 12 he was approaching and running way off the road. So Gosh having a bit of a messy start to the session. But yes, no rain in qualifying. The rain in Spain has not arrived. Will we have any wet conditions in the race? We'll wait and see. It is an overcast afternoon here in Spain, but we'll see how the weather pans out. But there is a few cars out there on the track at the moment, and 4 times on the board. Car Powerful a 1:16.8, the only one of those times that is actually representative so far. But the big question is, what will the strategy be this weekend? Will we see drivers going once again for that soft tyre run, or will it be a case of super softs? But I get the impression it's going to be one run on the soft tyre again from the majority, but we'll wait and see, James, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely, and this has been a recurring factor this season. So we said in Baku, we said in Bahrain, we said in China, or you may have said in China, but it's all been, it's always been the alternate strategy, which has ultimately been the best strategy. Now, no one's going to go out there and set on mediums. I believe that's the other tyre, the medium tyre, for this weekend. I don't think anyone will use that, in qualifying. It's a stupid tyre, it's pointless. You don't really want to touch it, in all fairness. The Grand Prix itself, you want to use it. It just becomes one of its own as you go through the race, and obviously that's just the tyre that they'll all want to use eventually. But yeah, they'll just do their little installation laps on soft tyres. It's almost like a practice session now, these qualifying sessions. And if I'm honest, Andy, I don't particularly like somewhat that we're just seeing cars going around, doing their little installation laps, coming into the pits, then get their one run. If they screw that one run up, it's a bit like, it's a bit, there's 2 sides to the argument, like any argument, but it's like, do I just want to see loads of cars just nailing every lap, and having to down one lap? If I don't nail it, they've screwed up their qualifying session. So I don't know what I think about it all, but we'll see how this session unfolds, I suppose.
Well, I'm going to give you the counter, of course, on that argument, as you say. I mean, you want to see them all out there pushing hard from the start until the end, but it does, as you say, throw up some interesting results, to say the least. We had that, of course, last week in Baku, although that was in damp conditions. And so, that's a huge moment for Joe at turn 9, going through camps at the back end, coming round on him, and he very nearly found himself sliding off and having a huge accident. Somehow he collects it all together and gets back onto the road, but the back end there swung round big time for the Ferrari driver. And is that a sign that he might have been pushing, going for a lap on those super soft tyres? I don't know if you saw it, James, but he went and had a huge moment there.
I didn't see it, but what I did see was a Ferrari way out wide. That's like ridiculous. It should be nowhere near that. Now it's gone for the old second to last corner in Spain, but still that's a pretty weird, well, it's not a weird place to go off. That when you're coming through there, you want to take as much curb on the inside, and sorry, not the inside, you want on the entry of the corner, and then you want to just like keep your foot flat in there. In qualifying, it's not easy to get it absolutely flat out, but all these drivers are going to try it. It's just a really difficult corner to get right, it seems, and that man comes across the line, and I think he's going to start a lap in the other Ferrari. A Ferrari that's had a really poor start to the season, I'd say, by all accounts. He's 15th in the championship with only 8 points, and his best result, I believe, coming in Australia. So, not been a great start to the season for Langman, but you could say the same for a few others. Verstappen hasn't finished a race this season, so there's plenty of other guys that will be looking to change their fate as the season goes on.
China, I think it was his best. I think he got 6th
China,
in China,
yes.
but in general, Langman, he's had pace. He really has shown some pace, but unable to string it all together, whether it's been down to bad luck or errors on his part. He certainly had the pace, and in China, if it wasn't for a series of penalties, he'd have been right up there going towards the end of the Grand Prix. So Langman, a man with some serious pace. So let's see if he decides to complete this lap. He is in mode 5 at the moment, so that would suggest that he is pushing out there on the super soft tyre. Remember, the compounds we have this weekend, the super soft, the soft and the medium, but we do believe that the super soft is not a great tyre. Like we've seen so many times already this season, it's just a qualifying tyre, that softest compound, and is not much use. Car Powerful though has put it to good use with that 1:16.892. Is Langman going to put it to use as well? Look at that, slammed on the brakes as he was coming up to the line, big time there, deliberately slamming on the brakes to do a really slow lap time, and yeah, that just goes to show up. It's pretty much a certainty, James, that soft tyre running is what we're going to see from the majority.
Absolutely, we've only got 8 minutes to go left in the session, but from what I was reading in the chat earlier today, a lot of the guys are really struggling with those tyre temperatures. The carcass temperatures, of course, play a massive factor in the overall performance of the tyre on this game, which is, you know, it's good. That's what I want to see. I want to see a bit more realism. That's exactly what you're getting. That's very immersive in many ways. But that's also, that comes with kind of, I suppose, graining of the tyre as well. So the deg's going to be a little bit higher because their temperatures, they've got to manage those temperatures. As soon as that temperature gauge, I don't really want to put a number on it, but it's somewhere over 100 degrees, like you would expect, the tyres are gone. They're absolutely gone. Like they don't work after that point. So it's a lot of drivers complaining about 103 to about 107 degrees. Over that point, you're thinking, God, this is where the limit is at with these tyres. So that's one to watching the Grand Prix as well, because you don't want to be pushing so much that your tyres are going to burn out too quickly. It's a very tough game to play in that sense. It's very difficult on how to really nail a race around this circuit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, James. I mean, tyre temperatures are an absolute nightmare on this track, and I noticed it the other night there. I mean, I was doing a league race. I've now had to pull out of league racing because I'm that slow. I'm an embarrassment to everyone. I'm that slow. That's why I commentate. But yeah, I was spinning the rear end everywhere in every corner during the race. I was like, well, that's what I get for not practicing, and it was quite simply down to poor management of the tyre temperatures. It wasn't down to lack of grip or lack of percentage, I should say, on the tyre wear. The tyres were there as long as I got them in the window, but I just couldn't do it. And I think it's going to be really exciting and really interesting to see how it pans out with everyone trying to manage their tyres. I mean, that 1:16.8 from Car Powerful was a reasonable lap. I think he might be able to go quicker on softs though, and he's decided, James, to come out in a set of softs, so maybe that was a reasonable effort from him, but not quite quick enough to go fastest of all. Another man that I'm interested to see this weekend is VSR Simon. Can he repeat the pace that he's shown, like he did back in China? I know he didn't get to the finish in China, but he certainly showed an AOR a few days later at the pace by winning that race. So can Simon start to pick up this season after what has been a wretched start to his season? Only a 5th place last time out in Baku is his only points finish so far. But let's keep an eye on Car Powerful then as he pounds round the final corner and starts the first soft tyre lap time of the session. This will be the first benchmark of where we need to be in terms of getting to pole position. Car Powerful down that start finish straight into turn 1, and that, James, is definitely the best overtaking opportunity on the track, isn't it?
Absolutely, you can, yeah, turn 1 is a really nice place to make an overtake. You've got to get your elbows out around this circuit, there's no question about that. I mean, down in towards turn 4, I believe this as well. Also not a bad place to make an overtake. You can see cars going side by side through turn 3, and that's exactly what we want to see. Here we go then, down in towards turn 5, I believe. Another great opportunity for a move to be made. Down up towards the infamous turn 9 we're going to be heading up towards, and of course this is where Heikki over the line had that massive crash back in 2009. Yeah, and Joel and Car Powerful going a bit sideways down towards turn 10 we go. Just try not to lock up, and that's exactly what he has done as he throws the car in. Again, another good opportunity. DRS on that back straight will get you a fair bit of speed. This is a really annoying corner. Just always feel like the car is always understeering away from you. You can't get the car close enough to the curb to really mount yourself. You can take several different lines through that long right hand. As he comes in towards the final corner, he actually bails out of his lap, and he is going to come into the pits is Carl Powerful, who has, I'd just like to add, replaced LK in this season because the former Williams driver isn't able to attend as many Grand Prix as he would have liked this season. But there's still, well, there's now just under 4 minutes to go, and everyone's in the pits. So let's see what's going to happen here then, Andy.
Yeah, well, unbelievably, 4 minutes to go in a qualifying session and everyone's sitting in the pits. But thankfully, someone is about to come steaming down the pit lane. Who is that? Oh, sorry, Dralix is out there, I should say. He's on an out lap. Jock's just come out, and Melanie as well. But yeah, nobody on a flying lap. A ghost town on the racetrack in a qualifying session with 3.5 minutes to go. Well, only this season would that happen with the variations in the tyre strategies. But this is going to get really tight and really tasty. I think we're going to see people struggling to get space on the racetrack. I mean, it is a 4.3 kilometre circuit, I believe it is. So this, or was it 4.6? I can't remember. I'm getting mixed up with Mexico. I've done a Mexico hot lap and a Spanish hot lap this week. I can't remember what one was which. But Dralix coming up the hill towards the end of the lap, about to start a flying lap, and yeah, I mean, it's going to get really tasty to see if everyone can nail the lap. Can Veloci Surprise finally nail a lap, because that's something he struggled with, isn't it?
Absolutely. The other thing I just want to point out is, let's not forget, you can have all this space on the track and everything like that, but also the other prerogative, if you like, is if they are on, so if you're in Dralix's position right now, you don't really want to be in his position because you're one of the first to go out on the circuit and you're one of the first to test the track out. Now the track's always going to improve from now on into the end of the session. So actually, if you're one of the last cars to take the finish line, you're going to have the best chance at pole, and that's like wet weather conditions as well. It's very similar in the dry. You just want to have that absolute best run you can towards the line, because with any luck you won't have as much traffic as anybody else, but there's no guarantees in that. So let's just see what Dralix can do as he's on his lap, and he had a stellar drive last time out in Baku actually, and really did impress us both in the commentary box. Well, it certainly me, and he's backed off of his lap as well, so he may be going for another run already, Dralix, and we'll be interested to see what he can do.
Yeah, it looks like it. Melanie's gone second quickest on the set of soft compound tyre, 17.7. We still wait for Simon to deliver. Is Simon on a lap? Let's try and pick someone up on a quick lap. I think Ghosh has just started one. We've got Dralix on a slow one, as we know. Let's see who else we can find. I think Langman is out there on a soft tyre lap. Yes, he is. So let's see what Langman can do. That 1 points finish, as we've mentioned so far this season, the Ferrari driver heading up the hill through that high-speed chicane of turns 7 and 8. And as you reach the top of turn 9, that is the fastest corner on the racetrack, and he's really out onto the curb on the AstroTurf, sliding the back end of the Ferrari all over the place. The prancing horse, well, he's getting pulled about all over the place as Langman now chases up the hill over that bumpy turn 11 that unsettles the car through turn 12 and down towards the final part of the lap, that tricky right-hander that leads into this really bumpy, unsettling chicane as Langman races through there now and round the final corner. Here comes the prancing horse, the Ferrari, the first time on the board from the soft runner. Where's he going to go? He goes second, the quickest soft time we've seen so far, and by some distance, half a second clear of last week's pole sitter, Jork 94. So that is a reasonable target to start off with, isn't it? Mike Marshmallow now, round the final corner. He goes fifth quickest, so no better than that for Mike. We've got Simon out there.
Ghosh has
gone quickest on the soft, and now Joe smashes it, a 1:16.5, but what an effort from Ghosh Grab to go second quickest. Where did that come from? Great effort, but Joe has laid the gauntlet down to the rest of the pack. We're watching VSR Simon come round the final few corners, and Powerful now on the super softs goes quicker with a 16.3, and surely that will be very difficult to beat. VSR Simon round the final corner, he comes up to the line. Where can the McLaren driver go? He can go second, the quickest soft time runner so far. Who else we got out there? Limitless now in the final corner. It's a total flurry as he reaches the line at the end. Limitless with the line, he goes fourth fastest. And he's a tenth away from VSR Simon's effort, but a good effort from him. Where's Surprise? He's in the final corner, heading to the line, and he's second. The quickest time now on the soft tire goes to him. Frantic end to the session this, and now Leopard coming home, James.
Absolutely, it's going around the final corner. He's 15th at the moment, and we've already said how poor a start of the season he's made, but he goes 6th overall on the soft tyres as well. Interesting to note as well, Martin really he didn't nail that last lap that he had. He couldn't nail it. I don't know what it was about it, but he just made a slight mistake going into the final sector. Hayden in the other Mercedes, in the other LCR, is coming across the line now, and he's got the ZRS wide open. Where's he going to go? He'll stay 16th fastest, and the last of the actual, classified times. So Car Powerful on those super soft tyres is on pole position at the Spanish Grand Prix. What an effort, I would say, but he is only a 10th faster than everyone else behind who are on soft tyres. So he may struggle come the start of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, he might, but I think the big story from this session is TRL Martin, isn't it? To find himself 17th, and yet again, the Achilles heel for that Red Bull driver is the qualifying. And Martin, when was the last time he qualified inside the top 8, for goodness sake? It's been a nightmare so far for Martin this season. And I think it was Melbourne was the last time he had a reasonable qualifying time. I really do. And Martin not having a good session, but Car Powerful, the only man that stuck with the super softs, and that was enough to reward himself with pole position. The Argentine on top for Williams. It's a Williams lockout as Veloce's Surprise starts alongside him. Will he help him out in the early exchanges? That could be a key factor. VSR Simon is third for McLaren, a very good effort, nearly enough to beat Surprise. Joe was next, P4. Veloce limitless P5 on his return after the trip to Spain last week. I think you went to Spain in the wrong week, James.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leopard 6th, Gorsh 7th, Langman 8th, Murso 9th, and VSR Holland rounds out the top 10. So it looks to me like it's going to be a one-stop race, should it be dry, of course, with the majority of the drivers going from soft to medium. We'll see what those outside the top 10 do, though, James.
Absolutely. The guys outside the top 10 have got those free choice of tyres. Do you go for the mediums and try to stick it out and just see how far you can get? Ultimately, I think the ones that are starting maybe further back, don't be surprised they start on softs, to be honest, because, I mean, someone like Martin may actually have the pace. I'm no disregard to anybody else, but, of course, you know, he's going to be able to stick with those soft runners for a little bit longer. It's whether you feel like you've got the pace on those mediums, if you can do enough. Because that first stint is so crucial. There is an undercut possibility around here with just the one stop that could be made. Although, that may not be said for Car Powerful, who may struggle to do super soft mediums. I know it's possible, but he will struggle towards the end of those stints. Don't be surprised if he does go for that one stop. There is a big chance for puncture. Like I say, those tyre temperatures aren't very nice around here.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see how that pans out. It's going to be really exciting to see how the guys cope with it on this racetrack. There is a lot of corners where the back end seems to slide quite a lot. We've seen that from Joe in qualifying as the cars head down towards turn 1. That Williams lockout then on this formation lap. Let's get a look at the tyre compounds then and a look at the grid. Well, the top 10, we've already went through it. We'll go through it once more. It's Car Powerful on pole. We're on the super soft tyre. Importantly, say that. Only driver on the super soft tyre. Surprise his teammate on the softs. Simon third. Joe fourth. Limitless fifth. Also on softs. Leopard, Gosh, Langman, Murso and Holland all on softs as well. The two Haas drivers had great races last weekend in Baku. They'll be hoping to repeat that again from a solid starting of P9 and P10. We'll see how it goes for them. Dralek's just outside the top 10. He's the first man with free choice of tyres. He decides to go with softs. And then everyone else, James, interestingly, from 12 down to the back in P18 has gone for the medium. So they'll be going long.
Absolutely. I was badly wrong in my prediction there, actually. I was surprised to see that absolutely everyone from 12 down has gone on the medium tyre. But look who's at the back, the man that he's infamous with these strategies, isn't he, Reynolds? Starts from the back on the alternate strategy and somehow he finds himself in the top 5 coming into the Grand Prix. Could be possible here today. Starts from the back, he's got Martin alongside him, so he knows he's got a clean racer in Tierra Martin alongside him. It's just what carnage is going to ensue into turn 1. Anything to Gorsh, to be fair to him, 7th on the grid. I'm sure he probably didn't expect that, to be honest, but he'll take it. P7 on the grid, and let's see what these guys are going to do as we head on towards the grid.
Yeah, absolutely right. Great effort there from Gosh Grab. Big special mention for a moment. He was looking like he was on provisional pole, and of course everyone came storming round to pip him down the order a little bit. But Reynolds, yeah, as you say, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out for him. We know he loves that alternate strategy, so we'll see how it goes for him. We'll see how it goes for Martin. some big names for me right down at the back of the field. So we'll see how it goes. Chalk, a lowly 13th, Reynolds a lowly 18th. It's totally different from last week then when they were on the front row, isn't it? So yeah, all turned around. And another thing about those medium tyres, everyone going on those mediums at the back suggests maybe we'll have some rain this afternoon. It's currently damp, cloudy skies here. Will it rain in Spain? We'll find out as the lights go out here. No! Car Powerful leads from pole in one of the longest runs down to turn 1 all season. In behind him goes Veloci Surprise into the slipstream. Is he going to make a move into that first corner? He is. He's on the inside, but he can't make it stick. And Powerful clings on. Joe had a little look, a little nibble at the back of the Williams. He couldn't find a way through. Now side by side through turn 2 goes Joe and Simon. And Simon's run a little bit wide. And Joe will on the inside. Will he have P3 as they hit the brakes? No, he won't. Simon just about clings on. It's still Powerful from Surprise, then Simon, and still Joe on the outside into turn 5, but he can't do that. And Simon clings on, James.
He's actually doing really well to try and get a switch back there, Joe. Right around the outside, then he'll go up towards the hill, and he can't quite get that move done. He's just sticking in behind, but you should have expected Powerful to have a good start on those super soft tyres. Naturally, you get a better start on softer compound. But let's see what he does. He actually moves to the inside, and that's going to allow Surprise, who he has let through. So now it's a Williams back mark. Well, not a back marker, is he? But he's now going to be playing the second fiddle, I suppose, to his teammate, as you'd expect, the championship leader. Joe is gone a little bit tight, and Simon in towards this corner now, and down the inside. He thinks about it, but can't quite get the move done. He holds his P4 for now.
Well, I have to say, a lot of people will be watching the stream groaning at the sight of that. Car Powerful moves aside for Veloci Surprise, his teammate, and the wingman tactics being deployed down at Williams, it seems, as Joe now gets right in the slipstream behind Simon. He's not messing about, he really is putting the pressure on, but he can't do it into turn 1 as they go sweeping up through turn 2 and into the right hand of turn 3. It's now Surprise in the lead from Car Powerful in second and Simon in third. I've got to ask you, what is your opinion on that one, James? Surprising slightly. I thought Powerful might have continued on.
Maybe so, and I think the big question is why would it be this early that he would go for that? Why would they switch over so soon? It just seems a little bit stupid, to be honest, to go that early, potentially, because maybe Powerful's actually got the pace on these super soft tyres. Like, he may be faster than Surprise at the moment, maybe the fastest car on the track. So it's a bit weird that they make that change now, as opposed to maybe a few laps later. Maybe a few laps later you have a better prerogative, of course. So that's an interesting one. But Joe, we've always questioned him on his starts in every post-race interview that we've done with him. And he's always said, I just need to get ahead of the next car, and I've got to do it now, or else Surprise is going to get away. And he's in that position again. He cannot get close to the Williams because there's always cars in his way. It's the qualifying that's really letting this Ferrari down this season. Hence why he's now 20 points back in the World Championship.
Yeah, now he's under real pressure from Veloci. Limitless Joe got a little bit scrappy going across the curbs there. Got poor traction coming out of the corner, and now Limitless is in the slipstream. He pulls out to the outside. It's Ferrari versus Red Bull. Is he going to go right round the outside? He's going to try it, but Joe will cover that off with ease. He runs a little bit wide through turns 1 and 2, and now Limitless is almost pushing the Ferrari through turn 3, but unfortunately he's had to back off and can't find a way through. But Surprise in the lead by 6/10, and the Powerful there is a rear gunner. It's looking pretty strong in the early exchanges of the race for the Williams team and Surprise. But I've got to say, I don't understand why Powerful done it. I mean, I can understand from a team perspective, but what is in it for Powerful? Like, what is actually in it for him? I don't get it. Like, this isn't real F1 where you know, he gets a pat in the back from the team or gets a bonus from the team. I really am surprised by that, but he's done it nonetheless, and he's allowed Surprise to now break the DRS to him, to Powerful, and now, well, inevitably, and has, of course, broke the DRS to all of Surprise's rivals, and now the Williams can try and canter off into the distance for a 4th win in 5 races.
Absolutely, he's a sitting duck now, though, isn't he? Powerful. Those tyres are already going off, and he's already in the pits. Unbelievable that he's come in this early. He's only lap 3 of this Grand Prix, and there you go. He's already made his move, and now Limitless is on the outside of Joe. As we head down towards turn 1, you can see Leopard's not too far behind either, but will Limitless be able to hold Joe around the outside? Joe had a great effort to defend against him into turn 1. He's done exactly the same here, and now can Limitless go around the outside through turn 2 on the inside of turn 3. They're side by side, and he's surely not going to get it done through there, and he doesn't get it done through there. Down towards turn 4, you've got to watch out, Mercedes behind as well. Towards turn 4, and Limitless still can't get the move done with Ferrari. It's coming though, Andy, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely superb racing. Now Limitless has a look up the inside into turn 5. Joe's running wide, but he should get the better exit, and he does. We're riding on board with LCR Leopard, who's watching this brilliant action in front. He's got a front row seat. He might be driving, but I'm sure he's munching popcorn in there as well as they climb up through turn 9, and still Joe is in control of P3. But for how much longer? Limitless is all over him like a rash. Simon, though, making a break for it from Joe and from Limitless and from Leopard. Can he apply any sort of pressure to Veloci Surprise? We'll soon find out as they go up through turn 12 into the final chicane, or turn 13 and then the final chicane. But look at the train of cars behind Joe. We said it back in Melbourne, we've said it so many times this season that Joe simply struggles with race pace. He's the king of qualifying, but on race pace he struggles. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all following him down the straight, and Limitless now fancies a piece of the action. Joe defends the inside, Limitless on the outside. He's surely going to have the overspeed. Joe tries to brake later than the Red Bull, but he can't do anything. Limitless storms around the outside up into P3. Joe down to P4, and surely he'll have to switch his attentions, James, to LCR Leopard, who's on a charge.
Absolutely, Leopard's coming quickly up behind him, and Joe's nearly made contact with the Red Bull ahead of him. Unbelievable, I can't believe how late he went on the brakes towards turn 4. Now Leopard's going to have a look down the inside into turn 5. He's got the inside line, and Joe stays on the outside. He's just got the grip on that racing line and keeps Leopard behind him for now. But Joe had a big moment towards turn 4 there, and one which would have surely shaken him all the way down from his spine. I'll tell you that. That was a scary moment for the Ferrari.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this race so far. Might maybe not be all action.
Oh,
look at that Leopard up the inside of Joe, storming out from behind the Ferrari, and Leopard, he gets criticised sometimes for some of the moves he makes, but that was absolutely brilliant. Caught the Ferrari napping, dived up the inside, Daniel Ricciardo-esque, dive bomb, through he goes, up into P4, and Joe has lost 2 places in 1 lap. Leopard up to 4th, and next up for Joe to defend against is the fast starting Haas of VSR Holland, who was down in 9th place, maybe 10th actually, at the start of this Grand Prix. What a start for the Haas driver, brilliant stuff.
Absolutely, he's Joe's trying to come back at Leopard into turn 1, he can't quite get the momentum there through turn 1 and 2, turn 3 is always cropping on you, and you get so much understeer on the front end if you're the car behind, and Joe's become accustomed to that, and you can see that because he runs so wide out of turn 3. Down towards turn 4, Leopard still defends really well, his 4th place at the moment. Joe's on the attack still, but he's a bit too far back, isn't he? Riding on board with VSR Holland, but he's just got to keep it in there because Joe just does not have the pace at the moment. I don't know where it is, it's just not there for the Ferrari, and he's just really struggling out here at the moment. And he's had the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th this season, I believe he said, so it may be accustomed. He may just get 5th place this season as well to really top it all off this season. But watch Holland, because he has got some mighty pace in that house at the moment. He is on fantastic form.
It really is. What a performance it was last week. The driver of the day winning performance from VSR Holland. Can he do it once again from the lower reaches of the top 10 back up towards the podium places? But we'll soon see. But he's all over the back of Leopard and Joe and really making some inroads. Another thing we should say is Simon is slowly whittling the gap down to Surprise. 1.6 seconds it's now sitting in around. So maybe we will have a race on there at the front later on, as now Joe attacks Leopard. He tries to go around the outside. Joe trying to find a little bit of a level to get back working again. Maybe the tyre temperatures are where his problem lies. Maybe he hasn't got confidence gains in the car, and maybe that's causing him the issues. Meanwhile, we should maybe watch Murso and Ghosh, because they're really close as well in the battle for 8th and 9th. And down into turn 4, Murso up the inside. The Northern Irishman shoves his way through, and he's just about going to make that move 6. Ghosh ran out of road, and up into P8 goes the Haas driver, or does he? Ghosh coming fighting back as they go down through turn 6 towards the fast chicane of 7 and 8, and it looks like the Haas has made the move up into P8. I don't know what it is, but those 2 Haas guys, they are flying in race trim, aren't they?
They are brilliant to watch in any Grand Prix. Any time you saw them in the Toro Rosso as well, they were fantastic. The entertainment they put on for us is absolutely spectacular, those two Haas cars, and formerly the Toro Rosso teammates. And now Joe still doesn't get close enough down that back straight. He's just watching Holland behind him as opposed to trying to fight Leopard in front of him. I noticed into turn 3, those tyre jumpers, Andy, as soon as he said it, he was downshifting through turn 3. He wasn't holding a gear. He had to downshift just so he could get the rotation in the car. That would suggest that he's really struggling for tyre temperatures on that front end.
Seems that way as we go back to that action then. Joe, Holland and Langman. It looked like Alex might have been trying a move on Ghost there. It's not going to happen. So back to this battle. And yeah, really exciting once again in that group behind, in fact, fighting for the podium. It always seems to be brilliant. And it is, once again, it's Surprise from Simon, from Limitless, then Leopard with Joe, Holland and Langman all there in a huge queue, and I wouldn't be far away from thinking that Murso's going to join that group pretty soon as well. And in fact, he's pretty much there already as the Haas driver. So pretty sure we're going to have two Haases in the top 6 or 7 pretty soon, and they look like taking it to the Ferraris this afternoon. I mean, that could be a quite interesting battle, Ferrari versus Haas.
Absolutely, it could be. The other thing I just want to point out really quickly is how much progress Martin's making, because he's still in the Grand Prix. He started on those medium tyres. He's going along in this Grand Prix. He just has to keep his pace and keep it consistent. Now he's up behind Mike Marshmallow, and this train, actually, we say from Joe in 5th, it's going so far back. It's probably all the way down to mine, to be honest. It's so long, this train of cars. And actually, Mike's not even out of this Grand Prix yet. He's still got a real fighting chance in that Red Bull. He hasn't made the Verstappen starts that we've become accustomed to in real life F1 in a Red Bull, but we'll soon see how much progress the Ferrari can make. Watch Holland though, because he's really closing in on the back of Joe into turn 1. He thinks about it, but not close enough. And Morso is also close, and also Trailex up the inside of Gorge Crab, and he makes his move into turn 1. The Toro Rosso is into P9. It's a lovely little move.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't watching that, but at the same time, Martin's made a move as well on Mike Marshmallow. I probably should have been watching your battles further up the grid, but Martin has also got past Mike, so moves everywhere, James, at the moment. Not sure where to look. Brilliant stuff.
It's the ILR of last season around this circuit. There's battles absolutely everywhere you looked, and this one is no different. More so, what we wanted to keep tabs on the Ferrari of Langman as well, and you're right to say the Ferrari has squabble. It's a bit of a weird squabble to have, meanwhile, but it's... Here we go, what's going on?
Joe was really wide there at turn 9. Sorry to come across you, James. He was so far wide, he was nearly having another one of his moments that he had in qualifying there. And VSR Holland can really smell blood. Now, he's right behind that Ferrari. The Ferrari B team, as many people call it in the real life Formula 1, really taking it to the big brother here. And it looks like Holland, going through the final couple of corners, is going to have a run as they come across the start-finish line. Joe totally dropping 2 seconds now off the back of Leopard. You look at the rear, it's all over the place, and that suggests to me that he just cannot keep those tyre temperatures in range, and flying past goes VSR Holland up into P5, and Joe doesn't look like he can do anything about it, and drops down to P6, and pretty soon into the clutches of his teammate as the Haas cars continue to swallow up the Ferraris, James.
He is really struggling. He's really struggling. It's like it's on his last knees, this thing. I don't know what's going on with those tyres, but they're absolutely shot. That Ferrari just cannot find any sort of grip anywhere on the circuit. That's not what he needs, because look how much Leopard pulled out in the end. It's some 2.5 seconds ahead of Joe. That's crazy. How the hell has he managed to pull that out? That just goes to show just how slow and just how much of a lack of grip that Ferrari has at the moment. Another thing I want to point out though is that pit stop window. That should be coming up a little bit soon, and the one thing I am kind of questioning is Simon's well within an undercut range of Veloce Surprise. This race for the lead isn't over yet. Also, Limitless is, I'd say, pretty much in with a chance as well of potentially taking the lead of this Grand Prix. It's not completely out of the question, but we'll wait until the pit stop window.
Tell you what, James, if I was someone like Dralex at the moment in P9 in this massive train of cars, I'd be considering a pit stop, and Joe is in the pits, as is Morso. Quite 2 cars there. I was just about to say that I felt maybe Dralex would have wanted to try that there and jump 3 or 4 cars because they're all so close together. But in the end, it was Morso in P8 and Joe that made the call to come into the pits. So Joe covering Morso then by making that stop and he was really struggling though, wasn't he? His tyres were finished, and he's now going to have to do a full, what's that, 22 laps on a set of medium tyres. Hopefully he can keep them within range and in the window, because it could be a long, hard slog if he cannot, as Murso rejoins behind Joe. But both these guys have a good chance of making some serious inroads on P5 of VSR Holland, I would think, at the front of that group.
Yeah, those two VSR boys would have been straight on that. They see Joe coming in, they would have been, yeah, get on that, get into the pits, let's see what we can do. Martin's up the inside of Reynolds as well as they head in towards the chicane. And he's closing in on Jork, and Gorsh Crab isn't too far behind as well, up the road, sorry. And Jork is really closing in actually on Gorsh as they head down in towards turn 10. Jork moves to the outside, can he get him on the outside? He's not quite close enough through there, and Jork holds on to P9 for now. Martin's not too far behind though, and this train behind the Force India is starting to emerge.
Yeah, it really is. Gorsh now the man struggling with the tyre life, and look at Jork up the inside into turn 13. Oh, I thought there was going to be contact there, I really did, but now we've got, what's that, another 8-car train forming, and Gorsh predictably comes into the pits and releases everyone. The champagne pours out of the bottle, because he was the cork in the champagne bottle there was no doubt about it. And now Jork defends the inside of the track. Martin now with a real chance to become the lead medium runner. He was one of the guys in the back of the pack on the mediums. He's nearly up into the front, and Jork broke very late there and nearly ended up forcing Martin out of the road. Now they sweep up through turn 3 towards turn 4. Can Martin make any sort of move on Jork as they hit the brakes? No, he can't. It's still as you were. Jork, Martin 4th, 5th with Reynolds in 6th. The top 3, Leopard, Holland and Dralix, the last soft runners to consider making a pit stop. Surprise and Simon come in there. They've rejoined in the same positions on the track. Limitless did as well, but Limitless is only half a second behind Simon further down there.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I just thought. Yeah, he did look a bit slow, the McLaren, coming in and out of the pits. Now, there was a lot of traffic coming in on that lap of the pits as well, in particular, so that could be a good reason. But look how much car powerful. She's done a little bit better than I expected. I'm going to be honest, I did not expect him to be that close to Limitless or Simon. I thought it would be a long way back, maybe in the clutches of those two Ferraris. I've somehow done quite well there with Langman and Morso. Morso stays behind Langman in the Ferrari, so... Or actually, does he get out behind him? But Leopard is staying out another lap. Holland and Dralix are both into the pits. There's so much going on. It's all happening all at once now. And let's see what I think Martin and Simon, that will be the big battle on track. But for second place in this Grand Prix, McLaren and the Red Bull, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, interesting to see. So Martin is now ahead of Jork, I see. So meanwhile, where is Joe in relation to Holland and that?
Well, he's passed him.
Nope. Yeah, he has got the jump. Yeah, so Joe does get that jump ahead of Holland. So good work there from Ferrari, getting him in a couple of laps earlier to get the jump back on the Haas driver. Langman behind that, and then Murso still, frustratingly for him, with 2 lap older tyres still at the back of the group. So he must have had a really poor couple of laps, Murso, to find himself behind Langman and Holland, because he came out the pitch just behind Joe, didn't he? So maybe some issues with warm-up there, I'm not quite sure. Veloci Surprise, meanwhile, is about to come up to the train of cars in front of him on the medium tyre, and that could make or break his race. It could be all about whether he can clear these guys and go on and win this or not, because look at them all, they're all grappling for position. Melanie, Verstappen, Marshmallow, Reynolds, Jork, Martin, they're all fighting for position in their own little race, and Veloci Surprise is going to have to come up to these guys and deal them with the likes of Simon and Limitless breathing down his neck soon. This does not look like an easy way to get through this group, does it?
No, exactly, and with the gap that it is between Surprise and Simon, actually these guys, Simon and Limitless, will come so much later as well, because these guys have still got a fair few more laps to go before they're even going to counter this traffic, and that's when the point of which, and there goes Surprise down the inside of Melanie. Oh goodness me, what a move. May not have even expected that to happen, but he's got it all done on the brakes. But like I was saying, basically it's around that pit stop window where maybe the traffic will ease, because they'll all come in, of course, and Simon and Limitless may be a hell of a lot closer than what they are now. This is what's kind of crucial. It's a really weird moment of just an event really that we've got now. Is Surprise having to negotiate traffic. It's almost like back markers getting in his way, and that's not really what you want if you're going to try and win a Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's not what you want at all, and Simon now getting towards the back of Haven. We'll see if he can make that move soon, but Surprise with Verstappen, Marshmallow and Reynolds and Jork still to get through. And now look at Verstappen and Surprise doing battle. Surprise round the outside, and he's through past another car, making great progress then. He doesn't want to take too many risks for Lottie Surprise, but he kind of has to. But I'm sure he'll be getting told that Simon's in P9. He's got 3 cars between himself and Simon at the moment, so he doesn't need to take too many risks over the next few laps as TRL Martin picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's got that cushion as Simon now gets his way past Hayden, it seems, round the final corner. So Simon gets ahead of Hayden, and now Limitless is going to make that move on Hayden as well. That should be candy for my baby, and indeed it is. So Limitless and Simon making their moves past Hayden. Next up Melanie, then Verstappen, then Lottie Surprise, who surely by the time they get there will have made a move on Mike Marshmallow, and he's right behind him now, and I can pretty much bet your bottom dollar he's going to be making a move very soon, James.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike is on those older medium tyres. It's around, actually, I said lap 17, it's more like lap 20, 21. These guys will be looking potentially, I think, to go into the pits on those medium tyres. Just depends how much they've worn them out. Reynolds hasn't made the progress which I expected, I'm going to be honest, but the pit stop window hasn't come around yet for him, so he could still be making a hell of a lot of progress. Surprise still sticks behind, and this is crucial as well because Simon needs to get that gap down to Melanie as quickly as he can. He's almost using Mike as a prerogative. Like I say, he just needs to keep him where he wants him. And Surprise is down the inside of Mike in towards turn 10. And it looks like he's going to get the move done on the Force India, who's not giving in, is he? He's keeping on the outside. Surprise, they make contact. The two are banging wheels, and Surprise backs out of that. He thinks, hang on a sec, I'm not getting involved in that. I don't want to lose the lead of the Grand Prix. And sure as hell he doesn't. My goodness me, that could have been curtains for the Williams driver.
It could have been. He lives to fight another day, and as I expected, Mike never ever backs down from a fight, and he's going to fight this all the way until now, and that move will be easy. VRT Verstappen pitting, that helps Simon and Limitless further, so through goes Surprise up into P4, so now 2 cars between Simon and Surprise, Mike and Melanie. So Surprise is, he's got a gap, but it's not as big as it was. Thanks to that Verstappen pit stop, that's 1 less car for Simon and Limitless to negotiate, isn't it, James?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing he'll be looking at. I mean, Melanie, I would assume, would put too much of a fight up against Simon and Limitless. They are very much faster than at this stage, and this is what I was saying. It would come to a point where these guys just maybe even stop fighting it because they're like, yeah, our tyres are gone now. Like, we've got no hope to really defend against these guys. They're in their own race. Let's just let them through. But having said that, we have got a couple of races. We've seen Reynolds, who didn't back down from anything last week in Baku, and Mike has proved that he's no pushover. So it's going to be an interesting one. Reynolds and Jork embraced in battle. Yeah, Simon up the inside and gets the move done, and Limitless is also up the inside as well. Not quite ahead of Melanie.
Yeah, not quite for Limitless. Great move from Simon, opportunistic, and now Limitless with the extra traction into turn 13. Will of the inside, Melanie basically jumps out the road, and through goes Limitless up another place. So now only 1 car between Simon and Surprise, and that is Mike Marshmallow. Now will Simon once again be forced to fight this one the way Mike fought with Lottie Surprise? We'll soon see. And look how quickly Simon is catching him down the straight. He won't quite be there in turn 1, as Surprise is also getting close with Reynolds, and he needs to get that move done quickly because Simon is only 1 car away. He's trying the inside to turn 3. It's Lottie Surprise. He had to back out of that one. That was close. Simon is still behind Mike, I should say. And crucially, that is all that Surprise wants to hear at the moment. Now up the inside of Reynolds, he's cautious, but he's through at last, up into P3 now. Just 2 more of these medium runners to negotiate for Veloci Surprise, but goodness me, it's harem scarum stuff, isn't it, for the Welshman?
I was wincing when he tried to put his car up the inside in turn 3, I thought, my goodness me, I'll never try that. And here goes Surprise again then, thinks about having a move on Jork, but this is where he's going to be really having to waste time then, just sat behind that runner door long as Simon's up and past Mike Marshmallow then for P5. It's all going on now, isn't it? As soon as I get my mouth in, he just starts to make moves and I'm not watching it.
Yep, so Simon up now to P5, and now, well, again, 1 car between them, and this has got to be the shortest the gap has been so far, James. It's about 1.5 seconds between Simon and Surprise, but Surprise makes a move. He makes it 2 cars again. Surely he's going to find a way through. Jork this time into turn 1. Jork, the big Wigan athletic supporter that he is surely not going to defend that. He's not, and Surprise is through now up into P2. Next up is Martin, and finally a chance for him, James, to build a gap with a little bit of free air before Simon gets ahead of Jork and Reynolds, you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. But Reynolds and Jork were actually embraced in battle, and maybe Reynolds was thinking, well, if I let Surprise through now, then actually I'm going to close right back in on him and use him as a bit of a toe just to get ahead of Jork, and he hasn't managed to do that as of yet. But yeah, you've got to watch all these cars behind. Simon is really going to have to get a move on. These cars are going to be in the way for him. That's not what he needs at this stage of the Grand Prix. Limitless is just sat back watching this scrap unfold. So Simon needs to get on with it. Needs to get past Reynolds. We remember what happened in Baku? Yeah, I'm sure you do. In towards turn 10. And maybe it could be Kern Simon around the outside. He's going to give it a go on that. And it's Alfa Romeo, and he's not quite got it done as he's been squeezed out of road. And that Alfa Romeo, he's gone deep. Yeah, he's gone really deep, and not deep enough because Reynolds does stay behind him for now. But that was really hair and tear stuff once again from VSR Simon against his rivals, and he's losing time again. And this has just extended the gap out once again, and Limitless is going to be under this scrap as well. He'll be one to watch. They head down towards turn 1. Here we go then. Simon is going to be all over the back of that Sauber into the first corner. He's going to have to defend from Limitless. He's going to be boxed in into turn 1. Simon's going closer and closer to the racing line. Limitless still on the outside, and he can't get the move done, but Simon is back on the attack again up the inside into turn 3. Side by side they go through there. There should be no space, and the McLaren has surely not made that move. Indeed he has, up the inside into turn 4. They're still banging wheels, and Limitless is going to follow him through as well. Through turn 4, Reynolds up the inside, still of Limitless, and Limitless holds it around the outside. Will he keep it all in tabs? I think he will, but the Red Bull is going to become really struggling. They can't tag, no, and they've spun around, and the Red Bull is out with a shot of a podium now, perhaps, because Joe's right up there. He's there, and Joe's made the move, but now Limitless is going to be falling into the clutches of all this squabble between the Haas and the Ferraris.
Yeah, not good at all. Not what we want to see. Side by side through turn 6, through the kink. They made contact. Limitless shoots across the road incredibly. Got the car stopped. His tyres, though, will be finished, I would think. Those heat cycles, or the temperature will be crazy after that big moment. And he will now drop down to a lonely P10, and Jork has decided to come into the pit. So that battle that was beginning to develop between Limitless and Simon, we've been robbed of it as Reynolds and Limitless come together going down the hill through turn 6. So Jork is in the pit, Mike Marshmallow is in the pit. But it has to be said, what a job from TRL Martin up to this stage, it has to be said. I mean, he really has. He came from 17th. He was second last of the 6 or 7 guys that ran on the mediums.
Leopard side by side with Joe, sorry, he's cut across you, through to turn 3, they're side by side, Leopard and Joe has somehow cut across him into turn 4, there goes the Leopard again, around the outside, can he get the move done? No, not quite, the turn 5 is always a cropper, can he get him into there? He'll think about it perhaps, thinks better of it, and maybe going for that slight switchback, he can get through there, try and get the grip, and no, the Mercedes stays behind. Sorry to cut across you there, but that got really hairy in towards turn 3, Andy.
Yeah, you were quite right to cut across me. I'm too busy watching a lot of rubbish. So quite right to cut across me. And Joe P5, Leopard P6 and Holland P7. Yeah, that's the problem with when you're online and you're streaming. You're not watching the same thing. It's not like real life, so you've got to cut across sometimes. And quite right to do that, as Leopard there got very close to the back of that Ferrari in front. It's Veloce's surprise now, half a second behind Martin. And Martin calls to the pit. So Martin is in for his pit stop now. So let's see where he rejoins, and can he come charging back through towards the end, James, on a set of softs? We'll find out as Reynolds comes in as well. But it's all about Joe versus Leopard at the moment, and now this has become a fight for the final podium spot, hasn't it? So Joe, who was having a nightmare first stint, is now having a much better second stint, but he's about to go backwards again as Leopard steams round the outside. Is he going to hold on through turn 1? He's a little bit wide, but he should have the line, he should have the place, and through goes Leopard. But Joe tries to come back through turn 3. What are you trying, mate? That gap's always going to disappear, and here comes the Haas of VSR Holland, pulling alongside and nearly getting the move done into turn 4. That was heart in the mouth stuff there from Joe and Leopard. That was so close. Thankfully, Joe backed out at the last second, and Holland nearly pounced. But look at Limitless coming storming back into the battle with those tyres, which are surely in a worse condition than what they were before that spin. What a battle we have lined up now for the final podium spot. So that pit stop from Martin has really helped out Surprise as well, hasn't it? So Surprise, just as he got into the tail of Martin, got clear of him and holds a gap of 3.2 seconds now to Simon. So looking good for him, but try and call the podium spot. I've got no idea what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what, they've all got their own right to be on the podium. Now, 3 of these 4 cars you can see in shot have been on the podium this season. 1 hasn't, and that is Mr. Leopard. Hasn't stood on that podium yet this season. He'll be wanting to do it this because he had such a treacherous start to this season. Limitless is now on the offensive of the Haas of Holland. Who's going to go on the defensive? Well, not really into turn 1. Joe's also on the outside of the Mercedes into turn 1. Limitless has got the move done. Can Joe make the same move on the Mercedes in towards turn 3? He just can't get that front end in there, and that's probably what's cost him. And he's run so wide, he may even become a cropper to the Red Bull. No, he's a bit far back now, Limitless, isn't he? But Joe is really on the offensive now.
Yeah, he is on the offensive. I'm interested to see how far Martin will get back up through the field. He's only 1.1 seconds off the back of Gauche, and then in front of that it's only 2 tenths to Dralik, so those 2 cars should get gobbled up fairly quickly from TRL Martin. Then Langman's only a further 2 seconds, then Morso a further 2 seconds, then this group. So how quickly can Martin dispatch those cars and make inroads? Can he get as far up as this group for the podium? It might be a tall order, but we will wait and see how it pans out. But the Mercedes, the Ferrari, the Red Bull and the Haas all doing battle, and once again we have to say it, those 2 Haas cars, they just never give up. They started 9th and 10th, they're already up to 6th and 7th, and will fancy their chances at a shot at one of them getting a podium this afternoon. They might be at the back of the train, but they've showed they've got some great pace, haven't they?
Absolutely, and being at the back of a train isn't exactly the worst position to be in, especially around a tight old track like Spain, where anything can happen, of course. We've seen it, so it's not completely out of the question that one of them will get a podium. And Joe is really, really closing on Leopard as they head down towards turn 1. I think Leopard, though, has just got the legs on him as they head through there, and Joe not quite going to be able to get the move done into turn 1. But that's not to say he won't try his luck, maybe, through turn 5 that follows as well. Reynolds sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Joe, I thought he was going to go backwards again there. I really did, James. I thought that the tyre temperatures were coming back to haunt him, but it appears not this time. He's clinging on. He ran a little bit wide there, though, through turn 4, and has now got Limitless on his case. So this battle continues. Veloci's a prize leads with 10 laps to go by 2.9 seconds. The VSR Simon in second. Is that going to remain like that? We'll soon see. 1 penalty, and that will change. So that is one to watch. LCR Leopard, 9.5 seconds off that duel in third. Then a huge train of cars. Joe, Limitless and Holland all right behind, fighting for that final podium spot. Morso was next in P7, Langman P8 with Dralik behind him, and TRL Martin now making a move, it would seem. Oh, he's way off the road, is Martin. What happened there? I just cut him at the last second, and he was taking the old layout. He was flying across turn 10 there and missed the corner completely. What happened?
I just seemed to jump ahead of Langman. I was like, well, that can't be right, because Langman's about a second ahead of the cars ahead of him. I was like, well, what's going on there? Actually, what he did, he must have just locked his back wheels and just spun across the track, and that's not what he wanted. Limitless is closing on a giant to turn 1. Can't quite get the move done, but he has a weird one from Terra Martin. He was going for the old MotoGP line through there, which is not what he wanted. He was also sideways as much as MotoGP bike can go, so interesting to see. Limitless is still haunting the back of that Ferrari and the Mercedes, and we've seen it last week in Austin. The Mercedes, the Ferrari and the Red Bull fighting away on circuit, so we thought he'd bring a bit of realism to ILR, and the same thing is happening again, the script writers would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, TRL Martin or TRL Marquez, I'm not sure, but that was a really interesting line he took going into turn 10. I mean, maybe he was hit from behind or something, or maybe he was caught sideways on the grass, I'm not sure, but we caught it very, very late. I'm just glad we did catch it because he went sailing off the track. So he's back in P11, back on the tail of Gauche. We'll see if he make any progress, but for now, I want to stick with Limitless, Joe and Leopard, because I feel Limitless is getting a little bit impatient behind this Ferrari and does fancy making a move as they go round that final chicane and then the final corner to start lap 25 out of 33. It's still Leopard holding on to that P3, trying to return the season round after what was a wretched start. And they slowly started to do that in recent weeks as Veloci Limitless is getting closer to Joe, but not close enough to make a move. So let's watch Gauche, Langman, Dralik and Martin all battle down towards turn 1. We're going to go 3 wide almost into turn 1, and Dralik looks like he's making a move as the Canadian on Langman. He can't quite do it and stays in P9, but this is a really good battle. Let's ride on board with Martin and watch it all kick off in front. Gauche goes really wide through turn 3, and now Martin's right on their case. So Martin on those soft tyres should have a pace advantage on these guys at the back end. Was going everywhere there for Martin, and maybe those temperatures are getting a little bit hot in the dirty air behind the cars in front. But Langman just about clinging on in P8 at the moment, but surely Martin is going to start making a move pretty soon. Dralix picks up a 3-second time penalty as they steep swarm up through turn 9 and through towards turn 10, and now Martin is going to have a look surely on Ghosh on the inside. Is he going to try and outbrake the Force India? This time he does outbrake him. Can he complete the move on the exit? He should do. He has, and Martin moves up into a point scoring place. It's been a long old slug all afternoon to get there, but Martin finally, after that wretched qualifying, is into the points. So it's P10 for him. Next up is Dralix, and I think another thing we should mention is that Simon is only 2.4.
Joe's going for a move on Leopard into turn 1. He's gone round the outside of him. Can the Ferrari outbrake the Mercedes? He's done it! What a move that is from the Ferrari, round the outside into turn 1, and somehow he's found a way through, and the Ferrari takes the 3rd place spot on the podium, and Will Limitless follow through with that as well. Leopard isn't done yet though. He's not done with that Ferrari. He knows that the tyre temperatures on that car aren't particularly great. The setup not playing into Joe's favour this weekend, and you can see that with just the way he's driving, so oversteering that Ferrari at the moment. Can Leopard stay ahead of Limitless, who's almost being pushed around the chicane now? And can Limitless find himself with a chance against Leopard down towards turn 10?
Yeah, well, that was brilliant from Joe. I was applauding in the background there. That was one of the greatest moves I've seen all season. Right round the outside of Leopard through turns 1 and 2. Brilliant manoeuvre. And the man who looked dead and buried at the start of this Grand Prix is now back into what once seemed like an unlikely podium place. But you've got to feel of this trio, Limitless is the quickest. As Simon now gets it down to 2.3. Is he going to make a late charge for the victory here? We'll have to keep an eye on that. But look at Limitless. He really is starting to apply some pressure on the back of LCR Leopard as they cross the line to start the 27th lap out of 33. Leopard's got DRS, but Limitless has got DRS and a huge slipstream. Is he going to go down the inside into turn 1? He tries to outbrake the Mercedes. There's contact between them. Leopard scampers across the runoff. Limitless doesn't get damage. Leopard though, does he have damage? I've seen carbon fibre go flying, but I don't think either of them have got damage, and I'm quite amazed at that. But that just looked like it was just a little bit too greedy on the brakes there from Limitless, didn't it?
Yeah, perhaps it was, and to be honest, Leopard wasn't going to be at fault there for once, and you've got to be honest, Leopard has been in his fair share of incidences at the start of this season, and some which you would say may potentially be his fault. Some definitely aren't, but in that scenario at least as well. But Limitless, it's weird because he's an old head. He knows exactly how to race, and that's just one of those like hit the moment things where you're like, oh god, I shouldn't have gone for that. And he's probably wincing as soon as he's gone for that move because he knows, yeah, I'm not going to get this done. And yeah, he's just not going to get, well, he still remains in P5. It's fair racing though, isn't it? Reynolds is out of the Grand Prix. Oh no, he's 4th World Championship and he's out. Unbelievable. Not sure what's happened.
I think it's at turn 9. I think it's turn 9. Yep,
it
the car's in the middle of the road. Yep, and Hayden just scampers round it. So Leopard's had a big, sorry, not Leopard, Reynolds has had a big crash up at turn 9. We saw Joe have a big moment there in qualifying and was lucky not to stuff it in the wall. So yep, out he goes. What about Limitless? He's now within a second of well, he's always been within a second of Leopard, but Leopard is not within a second of Joe. Well, he's very close to being, and he is now. So if they come round another lap and Leopard's not in the DRS to Joe, Limitless could have a great chance going into turn 1 to make that move. Unseen by us, Kerry Martin is now up into P8 on those soft tyres, and Melanie now has been in the war somewhere. Let's see where that is. I think it might have been with Jork. It's been with Jork because Jork just went for a spin through turn 3.
Oh, that's a big crash.
And Jork have collided.
Yeah, it's a big incident. If you go on board with Saubers, if you run on board with Verstappen, you can see on the left-hand side, just, it's a big old crash that those two Saubers have had then. And after their absolute stellar drive and performance in Baku, it's gone all to pot here in Spain. It's not exactly what they wanted, and maybe, yeah, it's just a weird one to see. But anyway,
it's gone to pieces, literally. Literally gone to pieces there. Both their cars littered about 1,000 bits down at turn 2 and turn 9. So yeah, I think there was contact though between me and Jork, James. Jork was spinning when I went on board with him, and that was right next to where Melanie was in the track. So I think that's what it was. But I keep saying this, but Simon continuing to whittle the gap down to under 2 seconds now, showing that he really did the pace to take this to surprise this afternoon, isn't he? And maybe this is going to be a theme over the course of the season, because he feels he had the pace to take it to him in China, never got the chance. Well, he's certainly taken it to surprise today, and maybe over the course of the season, these two could be ones to watch.
Absolutely right, and you know, we've got Monaco next up, and a track which I've only ever commentated once on, I'm not going to lie to you, I've only ever commentated once around Monaco, but it's going to be a big moment around there as well, and Limitless gets himself a penalty, so all chances of him getting a podium may be out of reach now. I'll check on the penalties though, Andy, and this battle is starting to rage on a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's it. Check and see how Surprise and Simon are for warnings. I don't think either of them have got a penalty, but it'd be interesting to see if Surprise is under any sort of pressure here with penalties, and whether it could make a mistake, because it could be right and interesting for the end of the race. But before you bring us the penalty information, James, I'm going to keep an eye on these guys through turn one, and around the corner. Joe was everywhere. What would happen there, Leopard? Was he round? Yeah, he's round. He is round, and he drops the P7 like a stone, and that now promotes the two Haas cars that seem to follow each other in sequence on every single race weekend, up into P5 and 6. They qualified together on the fifth row, and now following each other around in P5 and 6, and could become dark horses towards the end of this race of starting to challenge Limitless and Joe. How do these Haas guys do it? Every week they just come charging through into a brilliant position, so we'll keep an eye on that. Martin as well, only 1.1 behind Leopard on soft tyres, so that could become a factor too. But yeah, bring us that penalty information. You have finished, June.
Yeah, Andy, I was just about to say to you actually, Leopard was the only one in the top 5 between these three cars, it was the only one without penalty. Joe and Limitless both have penalties, so actually it's all down to Holland, and the man I didn't check, he could still get the podium in this Grand Prix. It's not out of the question for him. He could still do it, not completely out of the realms of possibility. Other thing I just wanted to bring you up on really quickly is Simon had a stop-go penalty, which is why he was so slow coming out of the pits, and maybe why he lost a little bit of time to Limitless as well. And that's a great effort actually from Simon. The fact that he's come back this Grand Prix from all that was pretty much lost through the stop-go penalty. One more warning for either of these two though, and that will be it. So it's a big ask for Surprise and Simon.
Well, that is very interesting, but also interesting is Veloci Limitless versus OMG. It's Joe. Joe defends the inside. Limitless steaming round the outside. Is this the podium place he's after? They're banging wheels through turn 2.
Oh,
and
no!
Limitless is up into P3. Controversially, you could argue, as Joe goes off the road and through the gravel trap very briefly. But Limitless is through. Hard but fair, you could argue. Some might say not, but nonetheless, the Red Bull is up into P3, Joe P4, but the two Haas cars are right there. And do they have penalty, James? Can you find that out? Because if they don't, they're going to end up 3rd and 4th.
Neither have penalties.
Well, there you go then.
It's crazy. Either of them could get a podium.
Yeah, they're going to do it again. I don't believe it. They're going to do it again. As Simon now gets the gap down to 1.4 seconds. Well, can we have a joint driver of the day for both Haas drivers? I mean, that is just amazing. They're doing it again, 9th and 10th. Okay, we'll just follow each other around the track, drive brilliantly and consistently like robots, and finish 3rd and 4th and beat everyone else. Absolutely brilliant. And they're not even finished at that. They look like they're going to try and make a move on the racetrack on Joe. Unbelievable pace. And Simon nearly under a second now.
Yeah, he is. Goodness me, this is all coming in at the very end of this Grand Prix. One thing I just want to bring up on really quickly is that, you know, this is... I had something in my mind that was just going, but he's just got to keep it within 3 seconds now. And Joe's on the defensive of Holland into turn 1. The Haas around the outside of him. Can he get the move done? Not quite close enough. And maybe through turn 3. Oh no! Nearly made contact on the exit of 2. And that could cost him a podium potentially. He's got to get on with it now because Limitless is darting away. He cannot get that gap more than 3 seconds or else his chances of a podium are shot.
Yeah, and it will ruin Murso's chances of picking up P4 because Murso's right close. He's about 2.5 seconds behind Limitless, and he needs to clear Joe now. And Simon, yeah, Simon is coming at Surprise like a steam train. It might be too little too late. He ideally needs DRS on this lap to really make any sort of pressure. I don't think it's going to happen though. They're about to start the final lap at the front, and Simon, what a performance from Simon as well, by the way. He deserves a big mention too, to take this to Surprise so well. I think it's going to be just too little, too late for any late charge. And look at that, Surprise even feeling the need to go defensive in the pit straight, try and break the toe to make it as difficult as he can for Simon to get a run. We'll go back to this at the end of the race, but look at Holland, look at Mursell. They're all over the back of Joe. They need to get a move on, or Limitless is going to have 3 seconds. He's got 3.9 at the moment, and this has to happen now for Holland if he wants to taste champagne this afternoon. Here comes the Haas car, pulling alongside the Ferrari on the run down to turn 1. Defending the inside is the Ferrari. He can do nothing. Holland up into P4, and now he needs the qualifying lap of his life to ensure a podium place for Haas. Brilliant manoeuvre.
Simon is within a second, I think, of surprise. Sorry, he will get DRS this lap. He's 9/10 behind. I don't think it'll be enough for it. More so side by side as well with Leopard. They're down towards there. But will Simon win this Grand Prix? He's not got a lot of room, and I don't think he's going to do it.
Leopard with a great move up the inside, right at the death there through turn 5.
Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! Unbelievable! Joe's gone back through into 4th place. Unbelievable! It's crazy. Come on, Dennis, not going to do it.
He's not going to get the podium. Unbelievable finish to this race, but we need to go to Veloci Surprise. He's been fighting all the way to the end. He's been forced to battle the distance by VSR Simon, but it's a 4th win in 5 races. Veloci Surprise wins the Spanish Grand Prix from the brilliant VSR Simon in 2nd. Limitless will be 3rd. What's happening down the back of the battle for P4? Look at this train. Joe 4th, Holland 5th. Up the inside goes Leopard into the final chicane. He can't make that stick. And they come round the final corner. It's Joe 4th, that will become 5th. As Holland finishes 5th, or 4th, Leopard will get 5th, and it will be 6th for Mursell. Joe only 7th, and Martin will be 8th. Unbelievable race going on down in the group for the final podium spot and beyond. Absolutely fantastic. Martin 8th, Dralix 9th, Ghosh 10th. Wow, breathless race. I really enjoyed that one. I don't know about you, James, but I thought that was a cracker.
That was just got really, really tense at the end. Like, everything happened all in one lap. And if there was one lap that was going to really spice it up, it was that one, wasn't it? That last lap was absolutely crucial for this Grand Prix. Those last few laps, though, for Holland, I'm gutted for him. I really am, because he drove such a stellar Grand Prix. And I just felt the grit of Joe. Just thought, no, I'm not letting you have this, son. I'm keeping it. And he really did. He's done a very good job today, Joe, because those tyres look absolutely shot. So he's done a really good job. Leopard as well. I'm not going to discourage him in this Grand Prix. He's had it tough this race, but what a performance to come back from where he was. And it's a good sign as we head towards the Monaco Grand Prix. There are your podium, the top 3. And it's pretty crazy to imagine that Williams 4 out of the first 5 Grand Prix wins. He looks untouchable, or does he? Because Simon is really in that gap between quality of the top 2.
I'll tell you what, there's one man he really has to thank for this afternoon. Surprise. I'm not taking anything away from his victory whatsoever, but that is certainly car powerful at the start. It gave him that buffer that he needed to make this race today. And that might have been why they decided to do it, because VSR Simon really seemed like he had the pace to take that to Veloci Surprise. And if it wasn't for that manoeuvre at the start, with Car Powerful getting out the way of Surprise, there's every possibility VSR Simon would have had the pace to win here this afternoon. And I really enjoyed that battle, and I think that is going to be something to watch over the course of the season, because Simon has really came onto a game. He really has shown some superb pace of late. And I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the table. Another big drive from him, another superb drive from Limitless, it has to be said as well, given that he was sliding, drifting sideways towards turn 7 at one point, dropping way down to around P8. Everyone wrote him off and thought the chances of the podium was gone, and he somehow recovered to get that podium. So that was a superb effort to get back to P3 from him. I mean, VSR Holland, I'm running out of the superlative to describe these comeback drives from 10th in the grid up to P4. What a drive from him that was. Leopard P5, a story of what might have been for him as well. Great drive there. Mursell as well, another stellar drive from the Haas driver there. Both Haas cars just making progress in the race every single week. Joe, penalties, his Achilles heel. He brings it home in 7th in the end. TRL Martin qualifying is his Achilles heel, and that's how he ends up P8 from starting 17th. Dralix gets 2 points for P9, and Ghosh got the final point in 10th. Langman was 11th. Mike Marshmallow 12th. Jock was 13th after a collision that forced Melanie out of the Grand Prix. Hayden was 14th, Verstappen 15th. Car Powerful, well, had pole position, but that strategy simply didn't work for him. He was 16th. Melanie, as we mentioned, out. And EVR Reynolds had a big crash at turn 9, meaning both Saubers went back to the garage in about 16 bits. So, yep, that sums it up. It's time to go to the guys on the podium. And James, would you like to take it away with the podium interviews? A thrilling race.
Let's go for it, shall we? And there is your top three. So as we said, it's a surprise from Simon from Limitless, and it was a fantastic ending to that Spanish Grand Prix. A thing that I'll come up with at the end, Andy, I'll save it, but I've got a thought for the end of this of the post-race interview, but we'll find out. Josh, you managed to win once again 4 out of the first 5 races this season. Does that actually, is that staggering in your mind as well? Because the quality of drivers that are on show, is that just kind of mind-boggling to get over that you've won 4 of the first 5? That's a crazy record to have at so early on in the season.
Yeah, I can't believe it as well. I'm just really happy to get this start to the season. Obviously, I think a bit of luck because of Simon. He hasn't really had the best of luck of the season. As you can see from today, he is probably my biggest rival, well, apart from JD, in terms of the championship. But when Simon gets a clean race, it's as you can see from that race at the end, only like 1 second between us. It's going to be really hard. Yeah, and then JD as well. I think I got helped a bit by the fact that he qualified, I think it was P4, P5. So that helped me, considering I was starting basically on pole, the front of the soft runners. But yeah, to take 4 of the 5 wins, just relieved, to be honest.
You sound it. The start, of course, was quite crucial as well. Your teammate, Carl Powerful. I don't know how much of an influence he had at the start of that Grand Prix, but do you think it helped you enough in the due course of that race?
Yeah, he just let me pass straight away on the straight. I don't know why his tyres could have. Well, he could have gone to like lap 3 or 4 or something and then pit, but he let me straight through. I don't know where he. I don't know if he let Simon or JD or anything like that through, but yeah, I think it helped me a little bit. I was able to pull a little bit of a gap by the time they all got past him. It helped just a bit.
Yeah, the other thing that, of course, may have played a little bit of a factor in that Grand Prix is the traffic. You have, of course, had all those medium runners ahead of you hadn't stopped, and they weren't going to stop for a while. You got into a little bit of blows with Mike Marshmallow, I believe, or one of you did. I think it was yourself. But, I mean, when you're in that kind of scenario, is it just a case of get through the traffic as quickly as possible and hope that I don't get in any sort of collisions with any of these guys?
Yeah, it was, I think it was Verstappen, the first move I made, and it was a bit of a lunge. I thought I was going to crash, but luckily I got away with it down the inside. And then from there, I was still trying to like hurry up, get through as quick as possible, but I took it easy a bit because I didn't want to crash. And then obviously I want to apologise to Mike because I tried to get past just the wrong place, to be honest. And we did make a bit of contact, but I was able to get through. And then the rest of the cars it was pretty straightforward to get past. And then luckily Martin pit as soon as I caught up to him. So that could have been a difficult one if I was to try and overtake him. But yeah, fortunately he pit.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we've got Monaco up next. Thoughts on Monaco? Is it going to be one where we're going to see another walk in the park?
No. I think whoever can get pole will most likely win. I know consistency is more than pace at any track, but I think it's from the races I've done there, you just barely overtake. I think Simon has better raw pace than me, I have to admit it. Maybe even Joe as well. So I think if one of them gets on pole, they're probably going to win. So yeah.
Oh, well. Congratulations on the win. We'll move swiftly on to second place for VSR Simon in the McLaren. Simon, that was a pretty... it was kind of a packed race for yourself. You had to negotiate the start, I suppose, very well. Towards the end of that Grand Prix, though, it really started to come alive for you, didn't it? It was very... hairy with the traffic, and I suppose as well. Let's go from the traffic kind of point, and maybe even the reason you got the 5-second penalty. Why was that exactly? Was you speaking the pit lane? Absolutely, and of course, you're right to say it was probably the first time we've seen you in some clean air in this season, and you really did prove yourself in that clean air. And as Josh was saying, you maybe his closest rival in this championship. So, do you feel, of course, is there the chance of a race win this season? Because I mean, at the moment, it's only Josh that's walking with them. So, do you feel like you've got a chance? There's some circuits that you just think, yeah, you know what, I've got a really good chance here, or I've already got a chance there. So where are we thinking that maybe we can get a race win for yourself? So it's a long season, and congratulations on your second place. I hope to see you more here on the, well, hope to see or speak to you more on the podium in the future. Let's move swiftly to JD, who had a pretty eventful race from maybe where he was what he was expecting. A couple of incidences I'll go straight into with Leopard in that Grand Prix, but we'll go swiftly first to Reynolds' incident because you were running third, I believe, at the time, and it was just. What was the issue that you had there with Reynolds? It just seemed like a really weird crash. It was a very weird place to make a sort of incident. So what exactly happened there?
Well, yeah, first of all, coming into the actual race itself, I've been in quite a lot of esports practice, but I was really, really, really happy with the pace in practice. It was the best pace I've had all season. And after practicing with Surprise and some other people, I honestly thought I could actually fight for the win today. Qualifying was okay, and then in the first stint managed to get into third, and then started to actually catch Simon and Surprise. And there, with the incident, I was behind Simon, feeling really, really good on pace. And then we were going through traffic and people on a different strategy. And Reynolds, I don't really know, you might have to ask him, but went around the outside of him, going into the left, right, and he just decided, I don't know, it might have been a desync, but he just decided to just keep his front nose along my rear wheel, and then it desynced into me and just spun me round into the gravel. So it's pretty disappointing because I know people want to race, but he was on a completely different strategy. I don't know why. If it was me, I probably would have just let him go, but I don't know why he decided to still fight. I don't know, but that was pretty annoying because I felt I had the pace to keep the Simon, and I think I felt I had the pace to win today. So that was pretty annoying. So I lost a lot of time. Well, I went straight into the gravel, and then had to overtake people again. And then the incident with Leopard, afterwards, I caught up to Leopard and Joe again, and we were in the DRS train, so I just couldn't get past Leopard because he kept on having DRS and Joe. And then in the last chicane, Joe went really, really slow, which made Leopard go really slow, and literally Leopard just got sandwiched. I went off the brake, and there's literally nothing I could do. He just spun round, and yeah, that was it. So it was pretty. I'm really happy with my pace because I felt I found something new as well. I was really happy with that, and I felt I could have fought for the win. But pretty disappointing because I think about those incidents. I think I could have definitely challenged for the win today. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to be pretty happy with the comeback drive because it wasn't going to ever be that easy to overtake Leopard and Joe because we know how hard racers they are. They don't want to lose positions. And to be honest, I know it sounds like quite a cringy thing to say, but they see a Limitless coming up behind them. They're like, no, I'm going to fight this one because, you know, your reputation speaks for itself, let's say. So it is a bit daunting, I suppose, for them as well. So you must be happy with the comeback drive you made today.
Yeah, I'm really happy with my pace because my tyres, obviously, when you go off and spin and go into the gravel, they were pretty burnt out, and I was really, really happy with the pace in the first stint because I could see I was catching Simon and Surprise, and I felt I was doing the same. I was biding my time on the medium tyre. I honestly thought I could have won the race, so it's really disappointing because I felt that was my best pace I've had so far this season. So I was hoping to get second at least. I don't know when Simon got a penalty, but I had no warnings up until lap at 25, and I think I only got a penalty because I had to avoid the cars in front of me as well. So yeah, it is pretty annoying. So yeah, I would have liked to have got P2 at least today. So yeah, hopefully on to the next one.
So next one is Monaco. What are we thinking? Monaco, is it? I mean, you've been a pad user before this point, and I don't think you'd have ever done Monaco on the wheel really in a league race. No. So that's gonna be an interesting one for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not really that confident for Monaco, to be honest, because I've got eSports next week, and I've only ever done Monaco when I've done a hot lap video, and that's literally it. So I probably won't have much time to practice for that one. So I'm just hoping to just try and do damage limitation there, and then for the rest of the season, just try and get a podium every race. That's my target. So yeah, it's good at the pace today, but I think I could have done better than P3, and it's unfortunate for Leopard because it's a pretty unfortunate incident, which you'll see in my highlights. He did really, really well. Same with Joe, and yeah, that's racing for you. So.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations for getting on the podium, and wish you, of course, best of luck for the eSports and all that hoo-ha. Anyway, I was joking.
Yes.
Andy, is there anything else you'd like to say? I actually had a thought, but I can't quite remember what exactly it was. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah,
Have you got any thoughts, Andy?
Go. Yeah. I just think that I think that was encouraging today. I think that was a really good race, and I enjoyed it. I think that today, similar to China, when we had Simon, who I really felt had the pace to take it to Surprise. Surprise admitted that himself. Simon then proved it in AOR a couple of days later. Similar to that, I think today was probably the day where we found out that this is not going to be a walkover for Surprise at all. He might have won 4 out of 5 races, but as JD's just alluded to, and as Simon's just proved with that 1 second deficit to Surprise, I think this is the closest we've been this season to seeing a battle, or closest we've had at the front anyway, between the top 3 or 4 cars in a fight for victory. And I think it's going to be a good season. I don't think Surprise will have it his own way at all, and I think that's quite encouraging. I think it's going to be good to see how it pans out. And I think Limitless and Simon and Joe, if he can sort his race pace out, and Martin, if he can sort his qualifying pace out, we'll be right in amongst it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that wraps it up then for the Spanish Grand Prix. James, did you think of what you had to say? Did you have another thing to add?
You know what? There's a time and a place, and I don't think it's relevant, so we'll carry on.
All right, okay. Right, well, that wraps up the Spanish Grand Prix here at Circuit de Catalunya, round 5 of the championship. Veloci Surprise has made it 4 wins out of 5, but as we've seen today, he can be stopped. It will be a challenge to keep it out the walls in Monaco. That's where we head to next. Join us again at 7:30 next Friday night for the Monaco Grand Prix. That's all from me, that's all from James, that's all from the podium, guys. Good night. Or as they say in Spain, adios amigos.